why are usually organizations migrating to Azure? So before going into this, I just want to share a quick story about one of the client who's one of the biggest university, very famous education institution, very well known, and they reached us to migrate to Azure. And their reason was very interesting, and I see that is pretty much common also. So they had a in-house data center, which they have VMware licensing to be having a very limited timeline. It's going to expire in 6 months, and they wanted to check whether they wanted to move to cloud or should they even extend the licenses, what would be the beneficial part, and these things. And I think most of the customers who has an in-house data center end up in this kind of place where their licensing is going to be coming soon for renewal, and they are really not sure on whether moving to cloud is the right choice or not, or should we take more time to assess what it is. So to solve this kind of problem, we have Microsoft funded cloud migration assessment, which is we call rapid cloud migration assessment, where we come in and see what is the overall IT landscape of the customer is. For this customer, we had to jump in, and then we have to look into what are the different systems they have in place, and what are the servers, what is their licensing structure looks like, what is the user base looks like. So when we exploring all these things, it was so interesting to see that they had built their own source code repository by themselves. I was so shocked that they just used an SVN version of the open source, and then they built their own source code version where people, where GitHub or Azure DevOps has evolved so far. That is one of the very interesting story. I never saw a customer who built their own source code repository, and that too for the volume of the code that they are building in, which was really a good opening statement for their management also to think about how equipped or how fast they're moving along with the technology landscape. So that being said, some of the major reasons why customers will be willing to move to Azure would be reducing cost first, because managing an in-house data center, we all know how hectic it would be. Maintaining your own data centers, power supply, cooling, in-house IT team, and all those things. And there is a potential failure point is also very high. So moving to cloud will easily reduce this by 50%, because all of that comes under the shared responsibility model, where cloud provider takes care of most of the things that is a big problematic situation for customers, and we can focus on the actual business area. And existing data center, this is the exact scenario which I was talking about, where you have an existing data center, we have to come out of it, there is some licensing complexities, or there is an acquisition or something. There are different situations that comes under the exiting data center scenario. Improving security and compliance in this arena of having our own data center and improving the security complex is two main things that we have to primarily focus on. And if we focus on that, both is itself a separate world, and it needs a lot of energy to maintain. And that is where Microsoft comes with their Sentinel solutions and different Microsoft security solutions that comes handy, and that is easily attachable to the existing solutions and go run on the flow. Scalability and performance, there is no more good reason to go to cloud when it compared to scalability. We all know the physical limitations of having the own data center, and extending it, scaling it would be a cumbersome process. And BCDR, since we have a lot of availability zones and different regions that is available in Microsoft Azure across the globe, across the US, it would be easy to set up a BCDR compared to having an on-premise data center or even a co-hosting provider, because even having a co-hosting provider would need complicated networking setup between the co-host and the cloud or the on-premises that we are operating to. So these are the different reasons, turning points where customers move to Azure.